You know that specific type of anxiety that hits you around the 25th of the month? You open your banking app, hold your breath, and hope there is enough left over to cover gas and groceries without dipping into overdraft. It is a terrible feeling. But imagine if that feeling just vanished. Imagine if you stopped doing mental gymnastics in the checkout line, calculating if you can afford the name brand cereal or if you need to stick to the generic stuff. There is a specific dollar amount where this shift happens, where your entire reality flips, and it is not the number you usually hear about. Most financial influencers are obsessed with the 2 comma club, telling you that you need $1 million or at least 6 figures to feel secure. But they are wrong. There is a much smaller, achievable milestone that completely changes the game. That number is $20,000. On this channel, we dig into the psychology of money and the math behind why the rich get richer while everyone else stays stuck. If you are tired of generic advice and want to understand the actual mechanics of wealth, do me a favor and tap that subscribe button. It helps more than you know. So, why is $20,000 the magic number? To understand this, you have to stop looking at money as a straight line. Think of building wealth like a rocket trying to leave Earth's atmosphere. The hardest part of the launch is not being in space, it is getting off the ground. The rocket burns 80% of its fuel just trying to fight gravity in the first few minutes. It is shaking, it is struggling, and it feels like it's barely moving. But once it hits escape velocity and breaks through the atmosphere, it can cruise at thousands of miles per hour with almost zero effort. $20,000 is your financial escape velocity. Everything before this number is you fighting gravity. Everything after this number is the momentum taking over. Now here's the secret that nobody tells you. The change isn't just about the digits in your account. It's about the chemistry in your brain. When you have zero savings, you are living in what psychologists call scarcity mindset. Your brain is literally scanning for threats 24/7. You stay in a toxic job because you can't afford a gap in pay. You ignore a strange noise your car is making because you can't afford the mechanic, hoping it just goes away. You aren't making logical decisions, you're making survival decisions. It's like trying to play a game of chess while someone is screaming in your ear. You can't think 3 moves ahead. You can only think about the pawn right in front of you. But once you cross that $20,000 barrier, the screaming stops. You move from asking, "How do I pay rent?" to asking, "How do I make this money grow?" Studies on financial well-being show that even a small buffer, like $2,000, drastically lowers stress levels. That's a small amount, less than a new laptop. But when you push that buffer to $20,000, you have essentially built a wall between you and the chaos of life. You have bought yourself bandwidth. Your brain finally has the free space to think about strategy rather than survival. This is where the math gets absolutely wild. Let's run the numbers. Suppose you're saving $1,000 a month and investing it with an average 8% return. Starting from zero, grinding your way to that first $20,000 is going to take you roughly 19 months. That's over a year and a half of saying no to nights out, driving the old car, and being disciplined. It's a slog. This is the fighting gravity phase. But watch what happens next. To save your second $20,000, it doesn't take another 19 months. It takes roughly 17 months. Why? Because your first $20,000 is now your employee. It's out there earning interest while you sleep. You didn't work harder, you didn't save more, but you got there 2 months faster. By the time you have $400,000 invested, your portfolio can generate that same $20,000 in just 5 months purely through growth. The effort required to save money drops significantly the more money you have. People often think the wealthy have access to secret investments. They don't. They just have volume. If you invest $1,000 and it goes up 10%, you made $100. It's nice, but it doesn't change your life. You can't even buy a week's worth of groceries with that. But if you have $20,000 invested and it goes up 10%, you just made $2,000. That is a vacation. That is a mortgage payment. That is a significant amount of money that you did not have to trade your time for. The strategy is the same: index funds, standard brokerages, but the scale makes the result feel completely different. But let's pause the math for a second. The most valuable thing you get from saving your first $20,000 isn't the cash, it's the person you had to become to save it. Unless you won the lottery, saving $20,000 requires a massive upgrade to your discipline. You had to track expenses, you had to learn to tell yourself no, you had to stop impulse buying. You have proven to yourself that you are the master of your wallet, not the victim of it. That identity shift stays with you forever. Before the $20,000, a $5 coffee felt like a guilty pleasure you stressed over. After the $20,000, you don't stress the small stuff because you know you've nailed the big stuff. This brings us to the opportunity filter. When you're broke, an unexpected event is a crisis. Your transmission blows? Crisis. Rent goes up? Crisis. Layoffs at work? Total panic. But when you have $20,000 sitting there, these aren't crises, they're inconveniences. Transmission blows? You fix it. Rent goes up? You look for a better apartment. Layoffs? You take a month to find a job you actually like. But it goes beyond defense. You can finally play offense. Maybe a rental property pops up for a great price. Before, you'd scroll past it. Now you can actually run the numbers. Maybe you want to buy a course to learn a new skill. Before, it was too expensive. Now it's an investment. Money attracts money because money gives you the ability to take calculated risks. This milestone also changes how you view spending. You stop tripping over pennies while stepping over dollars. When you're struggling, you obsess over the price of eggs or gas. You waste hours of mental energy trying to save $2. Once you have that $20,000 foundation, you realize the $3 difference in gas prices is irrelevant. You start focusing on the needle movers, like your housing cost, your tax strategy, and your investment allocation. You stop being busy being poor and start being productive at getting rich. Let's talk about your job. There is nothing more dangerous to your career than being desperate. If you need your paycheck next Friday just to survive, your boss owns you. You can't negotiate, you can't complain about toxic culture, you are trapped. $20,000 is your leverage fund. It's not enough to retire, but it's enough to say no. If your boss demands you work the weekend again, you can push back. If you're underpaid, you can walk into that office and demand a raise with confidence, because you know that if they fire you, you'll be fine for 6 months. And ironically, when you have that energy of not needing the job desperately, people respect you more. You get the raise, you get the promotion. Confidence pays. Now, I have to warn you, there's a trap that catches about 50% of people who hit this milestone. They see that $20,000 balance, they feel that relief, and then they sabotage it. They go buy a brand new car. Please do not treat your financial foundation as a shopping spree fund. That $20,000 is not for a down payment on a luxury car. If you buy that car, you're taking your soldiers off the battlefield right before they start winning the war. A new car loses 20% of its value the second it touches the street. You're voluntarily burning wealth. Keep driving the old car, keep the old phone. Let that $20,000 compound. Getting to $20,000 is going to be the hardest financial thing you ever do. It will feel slow, it will feel unfair, but once you crest that hill, the gravity flips. Instead of pulling you down, it starts pulling you up. The first $20,000 is about survival. Everything after that is about freedom. Start today. Your future self is counting on you. If you found value in this video, here's a challenge. In the comments, tell me, what is one financial decision you've made recently that was driven by emotion rather than logic? Let's be honest down there. And to continue building your financial IQ, click that subscribe button and ring the bell. We are building a community of thinkers, not just spenders. I'll see you in the next video. Stay conscious.